Hi, welcome to podcast episode number 30. I'm really excited to share this journey with you and with all these incredible people that have been on the podcast that are all from our community, people who are on their coach certification journey and really just sharing their stories, many of whom have already graduated from the academy and are working and applying their coaching skills, building their practice, living their passion. And I'm just eternally grateful to share this space with so many impressive and interesting and passionate people. And today, to celebrate episode 30, I decided to come to you with a little reminder for anyone who is a coach or who is being coached about the importance of goals and what the powerful impact of goals is on our lives. There are some studies that say 85% of people do not set goals. I want to clarify that to say that just because you don't set a goal doesn't mean you don't have goals. In fact, we know that many of the things that guide our behavior are goals that are subconscious, that are actually governing us when we don't even know. The subconscious goals that are formed by beliefs from events that might have happened in your past that created an emotional memory that now affect how you respond in any given situation. There's usually a trigger and then a reactive response. What coaches do is help people create a pause between stimulus and reaction. So looking internally, even looking externally to say, what are the triggers? What's going on for me? What belief is at play? And what am I willing to challenge? What am I willing to, look at from a different perspective to say, what other reaction could I have in that moment of being triggered? That kind of self-reflection and internal kind of introspection, I guess you can call it, is what coaches do. It's what we do in our coach certification. We help people first reflect on their own lives, their own triggers, and their own, we call them inner rules, and then help others to reflect on theirs. And so today I thought I would remind us, if you've been in the program or maybe you're interested in looking to join the coach certification, this is something that we talk about a lot and especially get deep into in our goals class, the goals workshop that we designed that we offer every December. So there'll be one coming up in December. And it's about knowing how to help people increase their success rate with achieving goals. So number one is knowing that you have rules that are subconscious, buried, that you're not actually aware of, that govern your reactions. That's the first place where we evoke awareness. I don't know what I don't know becomes, ooh, I know something and it's a little uncomfortable. So let me give you an example. Let's say you are a young child and you're playing soccer and your parents aren't there at that particular game because they dropped you off, they had something to do, and they were going to come pick you up at the end of practice. They know you're in good hands, there's other parents and coaches around, so it's all good. But you're on the field and you're loving soccer, you're 5 years old, and you are just developing a skill. So you're developing an interest, maybe even developing a passion. And so you're really emotionally invested in the play of soccer. And you think you're good. You're having some success. You're hitting the ball. You're getting maybe some shots in goal. You're passing the ball once in a while. But perhaps a teammate or a couple of teammates challenge you and get upset with you for not passing and get mad when you miss the goal. And so your love of soccer starts to be questioned. Am I good at this? Do I belong here? Is this where I'm meant to be? Is this a sport for me? Those types of self-doubt questions start to arise. And if someone isn't there to help us emotionally regulate that response could become internalized. Oh, an emotional response to an event, which might be some team player or some teammate getting upset that you didn't pass the ball. Your internal response creates meaning of that event and says, oh, I must not be a good team player. So now my belief is formed. I'm not a good team player. So I go on, and because there was no trusted parent or adult there to interfere with that meaning making, to help me self correct, to help me with some external support, I'm making a belief. I'm formulating a belief. And let's say the next time I play soccer, something happens which reminds me of that belief. That will reinforce the belief even more. And this is how we go through life. We are the sum of our events and the meaning we make of all of these events. And so, fast forward, you're an adult, and you recognize a pattern in your life that you have not engaged in team sports. You chose singles tennis. You chose downhill slalom, skiing, racing. You chose golf. You chose independent sports that didn't involve teams. And you're not really aware of the reason why until you start to reflect, until you start to evoke awareness. That could be therapy, it could be coaching, it could be counseling, it could be many different ways, it could even be mentoring. But the point is that there's a moment where somebody creates awareness for you, or something happens that an awareness is created. That subconscious goal now bubbles up to the surface. The goal being protect yourself. Don't get involved in team sports because you aren't a good team player. Now the opportunity is to challenge that belief. Okay, so what else could be true? What else is possible? What evidence do I have for that? Those types of questions are what help us to reframe experiences and challenge the beliefs that are deeply ingrained. And this is what coaches do. We can do it with ourselves in self-reflection, but it's not as powerful as it is with a coach, because a coach notices and reflects back everything that you can't see and you're not aware of. So think of the coach as your external eyes and ears reflecting back reality. So as you're describing what's going on for you, as you're telling your stories about the events of your life and the meaning you've made and your reactions and your triggers, the coach is reflecting you back to you. Oh, I noticed your shoulders went down when you said that. I noticed your face lit up when you talk about that, and so forth. Observations are also how we evoke awareness. And all of this is to help us feed our reticular activating system, also known as RAS, to start to change what we pay attention to. RAS is deeply implicated in goal setting because it is what our dominant belief systems tell us to pay attention to. So if I believe that I'm not a good team player, I will notice all of the information in my environment that confirms I am not a good team player. It's what we call confirmation bias. It can also be known as attribution bias, selective listening, selective attention, whatever you want to call it. It is your dominant belief system that is telling you to notice the things that feed the ideas that you already have. So the opportunity in coaching, as we're evoking awareness about these subconscious rules or about, how we respond and triggers, is to think about, well, okay, what else do I want to pay attention to? What do I want my reticular activating system to pay attention to? So this evoking awareness is directly associated to creating an opportunity for you to start to notice the things that feed what you want, not what you don't want. So for example, I'm sure some of you have experienced this, where you might be driving a car that is perfectly fine until it's not. It's 15 years old and it breaks down, and you're sitting there going, man, I need a car now. You really were happy with your car. You didn't feel like you wanted to change the car until the car doesn't work. And now suddenly your dominant belief system is noticing the problem, which is I need a car. And to solve the problem, you have to start to select the car you want. So suddenly you are noticing cars when you never did before because you had a car that worked. This is how our brains protect us from overwhelm. If we noticed everything in our environment, we would have smoke coming out of our ears all the time. I don't think that's what we want as humans. We would be on overload and and risk of burnout. So our brains protect us with this selective attention called RAS, or reticular activating system. So when you are noticing cars, suddenly you're noticing things that you didn't even see yesterday that were in front of you, but you didn't notice. So for example, I drive up to a red light and I notice a car. Let's say it's a Tesla, whatever. Red Tesla. Oh my God, what a beautiful car that is. I never noticed that car before. What is that car? And then you leave that light and you start to see, oh, there's another one. And then you drive home and you're on your street and you notice that there are 4 Teslas, different colors, parked at your neighbors' homes because they own Teslas. And now you realize that you would never even notice what was right in front of you. This happens to all of us because our brains are protecting us from overwhelm and too much information. So now let me circle back to goals. When we evoke awareness and we help people move from avoidant goals, the statements like, I don't want to lose my job, I don't want to move, I don't want to, I don't know, finish the sentence. Whatever it is, people often come into coaching with the I don't wants. Even when we say, what would you like to achieve today? They say, well, I don't want to be stuck here for another 10 years. Okay, our brains are wired for negativity. So the opportunity is to say, let's turn that into an approach goal. So what does it look like when you're moving towards what you want? Let's talk about the ideal. Let's talk about creating the experience that you're after instead of trying to avoid what you don't want, which is where most of us sit when we enter into a conversation about goals. So another big opportunity for goal setting and coaching is to go from an avoiding goal to an approach goal. The approach goal is what will feed your reticular activating system. It will help the client or you notice the things that feed your goal so that you can move towards what you want and not away from what you don't want all the time. That is a huge different stance. Sorry. It's a very different stance. It's almost like you're going from defense to offense. And so we want to help people become more intentional by helping them with this goal setting strategy. Another big part of what makes a goal successful or not is relationships and systems that exist around us. And we often don't even realize how much impact they have on us. So for example, let's talk about relationships. How many of you have a goal that you're working towards right now, and you can name at least 10 people who support that goal? 10 people who help you to move towards what you want and are very supportive in that help, in that support. So those 10 people are good people to help, to surround yourself with. Most of us have a difficult time naming those 10 people. And even if they're 2 or 3 times removed from you, so they're the friend of a friend or the cousin of a friend or your first cousin's second cousin, think about like layers of people removed or colleagues at work in other departments. Even they have as much as a 30% chance of influencing your success of achieving a goal. So what does this mean? We need to get a little more clear and a little more aware of the relationships in our lives and how they impact our goals. And one of the things we do in our goals workshop is to ask people to reflect on who in their life is supportive. In fact, we run an exercise where we ask people to stare at a bunch of positive words. And then in the next segment, we say, now name 10 people who have that kind of support and positivity towards you and your goal. And they always have this like aha moment of, oh my goodness, I don't actually have a lot of people who support what I want. And if we take that to systems, so we take it further, like daycare, bus schedules, and even work hours and flexibility, how many systems support our goals? So there's a lot of room for a support that doesn't exist. And most importantly, it's reflection. We can't change what we don't know. So a lot of what coaching does is bubbles up to the surface the things that we're not aware of, the things that are subconscious. We talk about the stairway of consciousness in our goal workshop as well as our certification workshops. And that's when we go from unconscious incompetence, meaning I don't know what I don't know, to the next step, which is conscious incompetence. Oh, I just realized I made a meaning of being a bad team player that led to all kinds of sports that are singles focused. And now I'm sitting here going, oh, what was that about? And is it true? Am I really not a good team player? That's that conscious incompetence, the discomfort of realizing something new, being in the discomfort zone of change. And then we move to conscience competence, which is skill building. This is where you start to build some skill around what you didn't know. So maybe you try a team sport and you realize, you know what, I'm actually pretty good at this. Or maybe you delve into different areas of teamwork and you realize, oh, I am a good team player. So you're challenging your belief, you're developing a new skill, you're becoming competent at something. And then it is unconscious competence, which is that level of flow and mastery that we all want to get to when we're learning something new. It's when you're doing it without thinking about it anymore. It's just a subconscious ease in doing it. This is the process of change. And when we are truly on a cycle of growth and growth mindset, we're going up the ladder and then we're coming right back down to unconscious incompetence again, because I don't know what I don't know is an opportunity for more growth. And then the cycle continues. So we keep going in that cycle to be able to continue to create awareness and to continue to create growth and continuous improvement and all those great things that come with learning. So that is my kind of highlight of opportunities for coaches to dig into goal setting, to get really interested in the ways that you can support your clients to achieve what they want. And it begins by noticing language. It begins by noticing body energy, facial expressions. It also is so important to listen for tone, for change talk, for resistance talk, what we call the readiness for change indicator, and really understanding what your impact as a coach can be when you show up for other people as truly a witness to their experience and not there to give them advice or to guide them or to consult them. It's really about believing that the person in front of you has everything they need to achieve what they want. And that means you really do believe they are resourceful, they are whole, and they are capable. And what you'll notice when you approach people in that mindset, your presence to them goes from wanting to give advice to really noticing opportunities for reflection, mirroring, and witnessing to allow the person to come up with their own answers, because we know in coaching that the client is the expert in their life. Thank you for joining this episode. I hope it was helpful, and leave us a comment or check in with us. Let us know what you want to hear more of, and really appreciate your tuning in every week on Tuesdays as we drop new episodes. Hit the subscribe button if you want to be alerted to new episodes. We have really good ones coming up. I'm super excited by the guests that are on our roster for the next month and a half or so. And again, let us know what you want to hear. We are here to serve. Thank you.